This is about 8 dangerous animals in Ohio. And it's a September morning and you're walking across the parking lot at South Point Village Apartments off Altbez, the south side of Columbus. Coffee in one hand and keys in the other. So ordinary Thursday. There's a dog-looking thing trot between the cars up ahead. You don't think much of it because you've seen strays before. It's not like it's doing anything, but all of a sudden it is. It's not trotting anymore. It's coming straight at you, and there's more than one of them. The people across the parking lot are already running. Well, that was in 2023. A person got bitten that morning, bad enough to go to the hospital before the police even showed up. Multiple callers told dispatchers there were several coyotes chasing folks through the complex in the middle of the day in broad daylight. And I'll tell you right now, that's the calm one. That's the entry on this list I'd trade in a heartbeat if the other 7 weren't waiting for me. A coyote in a parking lot is a Tuesday morning compared to what Ohio's got tucked back in its creeks and tree lines. Everything after this is worse, so let's start counting them. Number 8, a snapping turtle. You're wading in the shallows of a farm pond in Pickwick County, barefooted. Your pants are rolled up. You're feeling around the muck for the fishing lure you just lost. The water's warm and brown and you can't see your own feet. Somewhere down there, sitting still as a stump on the bottom, is something the size of a truck battery that has decided you're close enough. Here's the thing about a common snapping turtle. In the water, he's a coward. He'll swim off, he'll hide, he wants nothing to do with you. Because in the water, he can leave. The trouble starts when he can't. On land, laying eggs or crossing the road. That same turtle can't run and can't hide, so he does the only thing left to him, which is turn around and remove part of you. You know, you think you're being good picking up that snapping turtle or that turtle when it's trying to cross the street. You know, that thing might bite you worse than a dog. Their break comes to a sharpening edge, their beak. Their beak comes to a sharpened edge. Now, there are documented medical cases of these bites taking off fingertips and cracking small bones in your hand. Maybe not your hand, but somebody's poor hand. A grown snapper's got a neck longer than you'd ever guess, and it whips that damn thing back over its shell fast enough that people who thought they were holding one safely found out real quick they weren't. Damn neck is like Stretch Armstrong. It's like reaching behind the seat of your truck for a bungee cord and grabbing the wrong end of a set of vice grips. You were sure you knew where everything was, but you did not. And a turtle at least stays where you left it. The next one comes to you, and it comes in low. Number 7's the Copperhead. You're stacking firewood against a shed at a place down in Hocking County. Reaching into that gap between the wood pile and the wood and the wall, where the light don't get, your hand's been in and out of that same spot 20 times today. No, on time number 21, there's a coil of coppery brown down in the leaves that's been sitting here the whole time, watching your hand come and go. It's been decided. The Copperhead is a venomous snake. They're actually most likely to run into in Ohio, and he doesn't want to be run into. He'd rather sit still and let you walk right past it, and most times you do. And you never know he was even there. What makes him dangerous is exactly that, his stillness. He won't slither off like others. He holds his ground and trusts his camouflage so people don't step near him. They step on him, or they reach right down beside him, then he strikes. Ohio wildlife folks describe the bite as painful as a bad sting. And while a Copperhead bite rarely kills a healthy adult, rarely kills you is doing a lot of work in that sentence. It still put you in the emergency room with a hand swelling up like a rubber glove somebody filled with the garden hose. He's the fella at the church potluck who don't say a word all evening, and you forget he's even there, right up until you back into him with a full plate. You know those folks. Now, the Copperhead mostly just wants you gone. The next one wants you gone too, but it carries something of a good deal meaner in its mouth. Number 6 is the rattlesnake. You're crossing a wet prairie meadow out in Wyandotte County in early summer, walking through the grass up to your knees and feeling good, watching for nothing in particular. Down in that thick tangle where your boots are landing, gray and blotchy and nearly invisible against the mud, something coyote has gone dead still and started to twitch the tip of its tail. That thing is the eastern Massasauga. It's Ohio's little swamp rattler, and little is not the same as safe. An officer with the state actually turned one into Wyandotte County during a survey a couple years back, which tells you they're still out there in the wet corners of the state. Now, the rattlesnake is famous for being sluggish and slow, a snake that would rather nap than fight. And that reputation is a whole lot of danger because people trust it, but the state's own field guide notes that when the snake is thoroughly provoked, it strikes. And its venom is highly toxic, more toxic drop for drop than the copperheads. What saves people is that it's small and don't deliver much of it, though. What doesn't save people is assuming a sleepy snake can't wake up angry in the half second your boot comes down. It's sort of like, it's every old dog at the farm that everybody swears won't bite. 99 times out of 100, that's a true statement. It's the 100th time nobody plans for. The one that hides and hopes you miss it, the next one has decided the whole neighborhood belongs to it, and it ain't stopped being shy. Number 5 is the coyote. You're taking the trash out after dark at your place on the edge of the subdivision in Franklin County. The motion light clicks on, and there at the tree line is where the yard runs out, and something the size of a mid-sized dog is standing perfectly still, looking at you. It ain't running off, it's just looking, weighing its options. I told you at the start about the folks at South Point Village. Let me add the part that ought to bother you. In January of 2020, a coyote in Columbus bit a police officer who stopped on the road to help a stranded motorist. I don't think it was helping with the coyote, but anyway, coyote was there, got bit. And when they hit it with their stun gun, yeah, believe me, they hit it with a stun gun, it ran off, then came back for another go. It's not a scared animal. Coyotes live in all 88 Ohio counties, cities included. And the ones that lose their fear of people are the whole problem. A wild coyote that keeps its distance is just scenery. The dangerous one is the bold one. The one that's been fed or has just decided you're not worth being afraid of, because a coyote that stopped respecting you is doing something you don't want to be a part of. Most of them still want nothing to do with you. The bold ones will test you, and a few crazy, some of them carry rabies, which takes an animal that was cautious and deletes the caution entirely. I ain't cautious with rabies, they ready to get you. He's the stray that starts showing up at deer count for scraps. Friendly as anything until the week he decides the campus he is and you're the one visiting. A coyote still working along or in a little family group though, the next one travels in a bunch. And it tear up a field just to say it was there. That's number 4, the feral hog. You're walking a bean field at dawn down in Benton County, and the ground ahead looks like somebody ran a rototiller through it in the night. Big torn up wallers and hoof chum everywhere. Off in the brush line where the field goes to the timber, something heavy shifts its way and goes quiet. And you realize that churned up ground you're standing in is fresh, really fresh. These feral swine are in Ohio with confirmed breeding populations across the southeast. Counties like Adams and Athens and Gallia and Benton. These are a mix of escaped farm pigs and Eurasian wild boar. And a big one clears 200 pounds and carries tusk. A pig in your head is a slow pink animal that lays in the mud and gets fed slop and you eat it on Sunday morning breakfast. A feral boar is that same animal with the safety off. The state says they're generally elusive and would rather avoid you, but that they turn aggressive when they're cornered and when a sow thinks you're between her and her little piglets. A cornered 200-pound boar coming downhill with tusk is not a farm animal anymore. In Ohio, it takes them serious enough that the law lets the landowner shoot them on sight. No license required, no season, No bag limit. Get as many of them as you can. Have a big breakfast on Sunday morning. It's the difference between the hogs behind the fence at the country fair and a full-grown boar in the dark that's decided you're standing too close to its people. Same animal on paper, but it ain't the same afternoon. We're at the halfway mark, and if you're the kind of person who wants to know what's exactly living out past your porch light, hit subscribe and tell me down in the comments what country or county you're watching from, and the state too. Because I'll be honest with you, everything from here on in the past that keeps the game warden careful, the last three you don't back into a corner and they don't warn you first. And the closer you get to number one, the less any of them care that you didn't mean to be there. Come on now, stay with me. Number 3, it's the whitetail buck. Believe me, trust me, it's mid-November and you're walking on a deer, or walking up on a deer that you just shot at the edge of a wood line over in Clinton County. Gun's already slung on your shoulder, because that's the way you do it. And it's still, the hunt's over. Well, you get close, you reach for an antler, and the animal you were sure dead gets his leg back underneath it. Every Ohioan thinks they know the whitetail deer because it's the state mammal and it's in everybody's backyard eating everybody's tomatoes. That's the whole thing. Nobody's afraid of a deer, but during the rut, mid to late fall, peaking in November, sometimes early December, a mature buck is flooded with hormones, loaded with muscle, and carrying a rack of heart and bone points. And his caution is gone. He's not a garden nuisance anymore. In 2019, an experienced 66-year-old hunter walked up on a buck he just shot, and he thought it was dead. And the buck came up off the ground and gored him with those antlers. Punctured wounds all over, and the man died at the hospital after calling his family for help. Well, that was over in Arkansas, though, and it's the identical animal that lives in every county in Ohio. And wildlife researchers say these buck antlers ain't getting more common as deer and people crowd into the same ground. It's the family dog that's been gentle for 9 years, and then one day a stranger reaches into a space at exactly the wrong moment, and there's no gentle left in it. 200 pounds of it, with knives on its head, a buck at least needs the rut and a bad moment to turn. The next one needs nothing but for you to have gotten too close. Number 2 is the timber rattler. You're hiking a rocky south-facing hillside on the hills of the counties there. Sun on the stone, stepping over a fallen log across the trail, the way you've always stepped over them for 100 times. On the warm rock on the far side of that log, stretched out full length and thick as your forearm, there's the biggest snake native to this state. And it has felt you coming through the ground for a good while now. The timber rattlesnake is the largest and the rarest of Ohio's 3 venomous snakes, down to just a few remnant populations in the rugged southeast. It can push past 4 foot, and it's one of the most venomous snakes in the whole northeastern United States. Now, here's what makes it a killer instead of a nuisance. The timber rattler, by temperament, is patient and reluctant. Snake handlers, those hepatologists, would tell you it's a slow to strike. They would rather sit coiled and rattle at you to leave. And that reluctance is exactly why people die from snakes like this, because folks take this calm as an invitation, and they step in closer to look at it, or maybe even to move it, just to prove they can. It gives you every warning, and then it quits warning. When a snake with that much venom in a 4-foot body finally connects on a leg or a hand out on a hillside miles from your truck, the clock you're now running is not a friendly one. It's the quietest, biggest man at the deer count. The one who never raises his voice and never has to. Everybody keeps peace with him without being told. The one time somebody doesn't, that's Big John, they find out why everybody did. He gives you a warning, at least. He rattles. The last one on this list won't rattle and it won't bluff. And there have been mornings in Ohio when the first sign a person had was the sound of it already coming through the wall. Number 1, the black bear. There's a summer afternoon in Ashtabula County, up in the northeast corner where the woods run thick. And you're inside your own home. Screen door, quiet kitchen, refrigerator's just a humming. The most ordinary place there is. And the reason I'm putting you inside this house is that inside the house is where it happened. Black bears are back in Ohio, and their numbers climb every year. Most of them up in that northeast corner and down in the southeast hills. Well, the whole state will tell you correctly that the black bear is the shy one, the gentle giant, and that they'd rather run than fight, and nearly always do, nearly. That reputation is real, and that reputation is exactly the problem, because nearly always is not always. In Hartsgrove Township in Ashtabula County, a black bear got inside a woman's home in the middle of the afternoon and was mauling her on her own kitchen floor. What saved her was a 15-year-old daughter who kept her head, pulled meat out of the refrigerator, and threw it to the 500 pounds of animal so they get it off of her mama long enough to get clear. That wasn't a kelp ground or the deep woods. That was a house in Ohio with a bear on the inside. And here's the part nobody wants to sit with. A bear that runs is following the rule, but a lone bear that don't run, that comes towards the door instead of away from it, has quit thinking of you as something to avoid and started thinking of you as, well, something else. There's no fence around that, no season on it. There's just the woods behind the house and the size of the thing that walks out of them. And how fast a gentle giant stops being gentle when it's already through the wall and standing in the kitchen, looking at you to see if you're the one on the menu. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.